Well, Shakeel Afsar joins me now. He describes himself as a Kashmiri independence activist. Good evening. Thank you for coming on the programme. I'm very struck watching this that the politics and division of the subcontinent is now playing out on the streets and cinemas of Birmingham.
What we must remember that this is a film being supported by the current Indian administration, by the Narendra Modi government. What we must also remember is as British citizens, we have accountability to the people of Kashmir. This film directly perpetuates that if you say free Kashmir, you are an ISIS terrorist. This film perpetuates that if you use the term free Kashmir, and as you will know that according to the United Nations resolution, the Kashmiris have been promised the right of self-determination. And the British is directly responsible for the mess that has been left behind in the Asian subcontinent. We cannot wash ourselves away.
Well, the breakup.
Just to answer your question, Nigel, I believe that this is propaganda by the Indian administration and the Narendra Modi, who has made this tax-free in certain areas.
However, hang on a second. I accept that the rapid breakup in 1947 of empire was done quickly, with a huge loss of life, and in retrospect should have been done differently.
Absolutely.
No question about that. That was then, this is now. But what I said to you at the beginning, are you bringing the politics of a subcontinent onto the streets of the West Midlands? And we saw this last year in Leicester. You've just talked about Modi, the BJP.
That's correct.
But here's the point. Modi is the democratically elected leader of India. He's been elected twice. He'll probably run for a third term.
And also, to answer your question, he's also the democratic elected leader that is holding the G20 summit in occupied territory. Internationally, it is recognized that Kashmir is occupied territory, and this prime minister is holding his G20 summit in occupied territory. The fact that the Saudi government, the Chinese government have backed down should clearly show you the level of propaganda that this individual and his organization is going to. We have no issue with people watching the film. Our issue is the fact that the false propaganda, the false narrative that it perpetuates. The film starts with the fact of it saying it's based on true events. The film had its whole trailer removed because the unfactual data of 32,000 girls. We as British Kashmiris, we as British Muslims believe that this film has been pushed out by the Narendra Modi to discriminate and disproportionately affect Muslims. You would never have an anti-Hindu film. You would never have an anti-Jewish film.
The 32,000 figure is, of course, highly disputed. The fact that young women are trafficked by some extremist Islamic groups and have been involved in the wars in Syria and elsewhere cannot be denied.
It cannot be denied. The same way the right-wing activists who are shooting up people in schools, the right-wing activists who have their beliefs, you will have terrorism in every community. You will have, violence in every community. As a British Kashmiri, I want to urge to every single one of you watching this, you can watch the film. But what you must remember is this is being directly pushed by the Narendra Modi government. Just to finish, because you've called me here. Just to finish, this being pushed, the fact that the government of India is making this tax-free in certain areas, what agenda do they have? What agenda do they have?
It's a democratically elected... Whatever we say about India, it is a genuine democracy, the largest active democracy in the world.
So they say.
See, I wonder...
I could argue that.
Well, I think it is, but I just wonder here, really what we're seeing playing out is the extreme distaste that many Hindus have for Muslims and vice versa. There is a large degree...
Look, I personally...
Let's be honest.
I have to disagree.
There's a large degree of racial hatred between the two groups.
I have to completely disagree.
And it's real, isn't it?
Because my mother originates from a completely different background. My mother originally came from a completely different background, a completely different religion. I have family members, friends who are Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhas. The fact is this, that you could even see the BBC report that recently came out on labelling and providing evidence that Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was the butcher of Gujarat. In 2002, as the Chief Minister, he was directly responsible for the killing of innocent people. This same person...
He's still been elected.
No doubt, this same person 2-3 weeks ago in his election rally asked and demanded people to go and watch the film, and he made it tax-free in certain areas. We have no issue with the freedom of speech, but when the freedom of speech is inciting violence against Muslims, inciting violence against Kashmiris, we can never and we will never, Nigel, accept that.
Well, let me pick up on that, all right?
Fire away.
Do you respect British democratic values?
Absolutely we do.
Do you respect the rule of law in this
Absolutely we do.
Right. Let me show you a quick clip of you taken, I think, last
Fire away. of Birmingham will not tolerate the disrespect of our Prophet, peace be upon him, and there will be outcomes from your actions. You will have repercussions for your actions. We have been trained from birth that we must defend the honor of our Prophet, and we will lay our life on the line.
You know, to say about another religious group, which you very clearly say there, we've been trained from birth to defend ourselves.
We have.
There will be repercussions.
And absolutely there will be.
I would say to you that under our values in this country, that is very, very close to being a threat, and frankly...
But this is where you're making assumptions.
Not far away.
This is where you're making... No. This is where you're making assumptions, Nigel.
I listen to your words. And if I was a copper watching that, I think, well, this actually is a direct threat.
When we live in a land where we have democratic rights, where we live in a land that we have the right to protest, my actions mean that we will petition against this. We will rally our MPs against this. Why is it that you, Nigel Farage, sir, assume that we are going to pick up rocket launchers and start killing people? When I mean we are going to defend ourselves, I mean we are going to use the democratic means at our disposal to do so, sir.
I
know you didn't mention, but you kind of implied that.
But it sounds to me, sounds to me that you're prepared to have basically street battles.
I'm prepared to use every one of my...
What will you do?
I'm prepared. I'm going to explain. I'm prepared to use every one of my physical strength, every one of my financial strength, every one of my contacts to make sure that I unearth the barbaric discrimination that is taking place against Muslims. And you know that so well. You left your UKIP party because the fact that Harry was becoming so anti-Muslim. You know the Muslim narrative that exists in our society. I'm sure you left UKIP because of the fact that how anti-Muslim it became, Nigel. You know exactly.
I didn't like where it went. And look, I've worked...
You didn't like where it went because it was going anti-Muslim.
I have worked with many Muslim people over the years.
Yes, of
but
course.
I am deeply fearful of Islamism.
Well, look, any institution or organisation that pushes violence, pushes hate, that calls for killing people, that calls for hurting people, I as a Muslim, as a Kashmiri, can tell you utterly on your channel, I condemn. Those people should be locked up and the keys should be thrown away. But when on a governmental level, the Modi administration, which you know, Narendra Modi and his administration and what they are about, when they are pushing a film to be pushed, and when Muslims, because I'm sure you were going to have another guest here who was ex-Muslim. Now, when Muslims say that we feel disproportionately discriminated, the fact that they are in the opening... Have you watched the film, sir?
I've watched the clips.
Okay, I've watched the film. In the opening scene of the film...
No, you don't like it.
In the opening... No, let me finish, because you called me here, Nigel.
You don't like it, and some of it's very violent.
No, it's not about I don't like it, it's about what it pushes. It's about in the first half. I'm a British-born Kashmiri who believes in the right of self-determination.
We now.
Nigel, you've called me here. Please let me have my...
But I'm saying to you,
Nigel, I will give you...
You are giving
let me finish.
Subcontinent politics in Birmingham.
It's not, because the largest Kashmiri community outside of Kashmir lives in Birmingham. The largest Kashmiri community outside of Kashmir.
So why haven't they become British? Why haven't they integrated with British society?
We are British Kashmiris. We follow the law of the land. We pay our taxes. We live here in harmony.
So you don't want this to be an Islamic country?
The fact that United Nations resolution states that the international community must get involved to sort out and allow the Kashmiri people the right of self-determination. As a Kashmiri, I was very upset that in the first 15 minutes of the film, it was a scene about the young Shalini going to nursing school. And outside the nursing school, it was graffitied, Free Kashmir, with a picture of Osama bin Laden. Are we Al-Qaeda? Because we demand the freedom from our oppressors?
Do you make a pledge that whatever you do, you will act within the laws of this land?
Nigel, even for you to ask me that question, when I stood up against the LGBT indoctrination in our schools in 2019 as one of your... one of your guys said...
You are a full-time protester.
No, I'm a property developer by trade. I'm a part-time protester. When I become a full-time protester, you will know about it.
Let me ask you
I give you my pledge. I give you my pledge, and senior police officers, I can name one of them, Inspector Neil Kirkpatrick, from my constituencies, as senior officers, and even two-star officers will say that Shakeel will always, and I pledge to you that everything I do, everything I say will be in the parameters of the law. In this film, I was a customer who was watching, who purchased. I wasn't a protester. I was a customer who bought a ticket.
I think you knew what was coming.
I bought a ticket.
I think you knew what was coming.
I bought a ticket in this film. The same way, Nigel, one second. I bought a ticket in this film and I was very disgruntled. The same way, if I'd ordered a halal beef sauce, burger and somebody gave me a pork burger, I'd be very upset about it, Nigel.
I don't buy that. But when you say you'll obey the law and stick within the law,
absolutely,
I believe you.
We are law-abiding citizens. I have a crystal clean record, sir.
Well, there we are. That is multicultural Britain, and I fear this battle over Kashmir,
Free Kashmir,
is going to go on forever and ever and ever. Well,